I'm known for being disciplined professional all year round, 24/7, and I just wasn't that time. So I was really disappointed, and I was more upset with who I was than previous months leading into that. And to be honest, it made it a little bit easier because it snapped me out of it. I was drinking every day for like 3-4 weeks. Like honestly, like I don't even know if I've got that. Like that's unheard of for me. Like every day, like I've never ever done that. But I was just like, oh yeah, you know what I mean. I wasn't training too much. Obviously, surgery, and that's even then. I was like, man, this has got to stop. Like I end up saying that honestly the day before I got the call. Let's do it. You know what I mean? Like I need to snap out of this little rut that I'm in. You know what I mean? And this is exciting. You know, this is a challenge. This is something that I need right now. Let's do it. So I was just a little bit more disappointed at that timing. I mean, losing's always going to suck.
Honestly, that is a bit concerning from Alexander Volkanovski, when you really think about it. I mean, after the fight with Islam, he did talk about like a level of depression that he would fall into in between fights. Lightening that up, he's saying, you know, it's not as big of a deal, he got knocked out, so of course he's going to be emotional and stuff, which also does make sense. But now hearing that he was drinking every day for 3 to 4 weeks, and part of why he took the Islam fight was to get out of that funk, was to get himself in the right track, makes me think that it has to do something with that depression as well. And another reason as to why he took this Ilia Topuria fight a few months later. Even after getting knocked out, it looks like Volk does struggle mentally between fights. It looks like what he's saying now, he's trying to just cover it up a bit, which I completely understand, right? You don't want a lot of people to know your true mental state in between fights like that. And if he goes and loses the Ilia Topuria, he cannot make these excuses. He can't. Because back to back, you can't make excuses like that. It's not going to look good. Even if some of it is true, right? Let's say he was drinking every day for 3 to 4 weeks. It's a true fact, right? He did take up the fight on short notice. He went and fought Ilia Topuria shortly after, but he made these decisions. No one put him in these situations. He made all that happen. So you can't use those as an excuse. That's the issue here. If he loses the Ilia Topuria, he cannot make excuses about it because no one forced him into any of that. He did it all himself. And knowing how obsessed he is with this game to become the best fighter in the world, to get his skills better, preparation, all of that stuff, it's like what I said before. I think Volk is going to have a hard time leaving the sport when that time does come. He does remind me of some of those older legends that they needed to keep fighting. They needed to keep sparring. They needed some kind of competition in order to make their lives normal. Because drinking every day for 3 to 4 weeks is wild. Like, that's some crazy stuff if it's true. There are some people that do think that he's just making excuses and it's not true and he's just trying to latch onto anything for an excuse as to why he lost to Islam Makhachev. I'm not going to say he's lying about that or, he's just using that purely as an excuse, because we also do have to know that he did come off surgery. He was having a new kid. He did lose his first UFC fight earlier that year. Everything must have hit him at once. He probably was a little bit depressed and stuff like that, and he needed a way out of it, right? He did say he stopped drinking the day before he got the call to fight Islam Makhachev because he went into the training room and they weighed him at 83 kilograms, which is about 183 pounds. And once he got the call, he's like, okay, yes, this is perfect. It's the perfect time for me to get out of this whole mess that I put myself in. I can actually fight. And it's an opportunity for me to right that wrong, get that belt. Under such circumstances, I might even be better coming off short notice than if I was on a full training camp. Which is something he did say. He said that it might even be a better situation to fight Islam Makhachev on short notice compared to going through a full training camp. It's going to make him more dangerous and stuff like that, and he was already preparing for Islam mentally the whole time. That's what Volk said before the rematch, that he was already preparing for Islam Makhachev. But if he's drinking every day for 3 to 4 weeks, I don't think he was as prepared as he thought he was. And it makes me concerned even going into this Ilia Topuria fight, because he said in the same interview, when asked about his concussion and coming back too soon after a knockout loss, he compared it to his rugby days. He said in rugby, if you got knocked, you would want to play next week. So what's a few months? That's not how it goes though, Volk. We're all human. We get hit to the head like that. Concussed, a few months is not enough. No matter who you are, it's not enough to come back fully healed. Unless he's Wolverine, I'm pretty sure his brain is not healed. Man, I do feel bad for Volk. He's an awesome guy, one of the best fighters we've ever seen. And for him to make these kind of decisions like this, back to back, and knowing some of the information about him drinking and his mental state in between fights, and now he's taking this one shortly after the last one, and he actually wanted to fight in January instead. He might be jumping the gun way too fast on these fights, man. But we do know that Volkanovski is still going to perform. Here, he's still going to fight at the best of his abilities. He's still going to be one of the best fighters in the world. The only concerns are for this Topuria fight specifically because of how shortly he came back after getting knocked out, and later in his career if he sticks around for way too long. But leave in the comments below, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about Volkanovski's mentality going into this? And just in general, what do you make of the excuses that he's making about losing to Islam Makhachev? And what do you think of his chances in this Topuria fight? Make sure to give the video a like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which is going to be the podcast.